Assalamualaikum class. Today we are going to conduct the lecture number 3 of VLSI design, in which the following topics will be covered: transmission gate, tri-state inverter, and then the implementation of the multiplexer. So let's start with the transmission gate. In the last lecture we have already studied about the pass transistor. So let we revise it. When the NMOS or the PMOS is used alone as an imperfect switch, then sometimes we called it as a pass transistor. So when we combining an NMOS or the PMOS transistors in parallel, then we can obtain a switch that turns on when a 1 is applied to the G. So then we can say that it's not a pass transistor, it behaves like a transmission gate. So when we apply 1 to the G, then we will receive a strong 1 output, and when we applied 0 to the G, then we will get a 0 output, and we can say that it's a strong 0 output. So basically, in a circuit where only a 0 or a 1 has to be passed, the appropriate transistors, either it is an N or the P, can be deleted, reverting to a single NMOS or a PMOS device. Here is different kind of the configuration of our pass transmission gates, you can say that, but the main function of the transmission gates is the still same. It pass zeros when we apply to the 0 to G terminal, and when we apply to 1 our G terminal, then it pass to the 1 as an output. Now move toward the tri-state. Basically, tri-state buffer is behaving like an ordinary buffer in which the enable input is 1, then the output will be the same as the input. If we apply 0 to the input side, then we will get 0 at the output side, and if we apply 1 to the input, then we will receive 1 as an output. So it means that it's basically functional when the enable input is 1. Okay, when the enable is 0, as you can see that in this table, then what will happen to the output side? The output going to be floating, and we represent it with the value of the Z. So you can easily see that the transmission gate has the same truth table as a tri-state buffer. It only requires 2 transistors, but it is a non-restoring circuit. So make sure that it's a non-restoring circuit, and if the input is noisy or otherwise degraded, the output will receive the same noise. So that's the basic function of our tri-state. So what is the non-restoring tri-state? As we have already discussed that it's a non-restoring tri-state in which 2 enables are involving, and if the noises occur on the input side, or you can say the noise on the A is passed on to the Y, after several stages the noise may degrade the signal beyond the recognition. So the tri-state inverter is basically produce a restored output, but note however that the tri-state buffer ignore the conduction complement rule because we want a Z output. The figure 4 shows exactly, the figure shows that the output is actively driven from VDD to ground, So it is basically a restoring logic gate. Unlike any of the gate considered so far, the tri-state inverter does not obey the conduction complement rule because it allows the output to float under the center input combinations. So when the enable pin is 0 or both the transistors are off, leaving the output floating. When the enable is 1, both the enable transistors are on, they are consequently removed from the circuit, leaving a simple inverter. So the complementary enable signal can be generated internally or can be routed to the cell explicitly. So a tri-state buffer can be built as an ordinary inverter followed by the tri-state inverter. So this is the basic combination in the usage of the tri-state inverter. The very important thing is to develop the multiplexer with the help of the CMOS technology. As we know that the basic function of the multiplexer is which one line is activated with the help of the selection lines, the output will be the same of that particular line. So here is basically the truth table. You can also familiar with this truth table. When the selection input is 0, it means that our D0 line is in activated mode. The output will be the same as it appeared on the D0 line. So whatever on the D1, we are not concerned about this input. If the selection pin is going to be 1, then it means that the D1 is in activation mode. So we are not concerned for the D0 line. Whatever is the input on this port, we are not concerned for this. So the output relates to the D1. Here is the truth table of the 2x1 multiplexer. The output of the multiplexer is a single, and if it's a 2x1, then we have 2 inputs and 1 selection pin, and we get the 1 output. So this multiplexer can be implemented with the help of the basic gates. It's the equation of the 2x1 multiplexer. This is the basic equation of our multiplexer. If we redraw this equation with the help of the basic gates or the bubble pushing method, then you can see that almost about the 20 transistors are involved in it. So it becomes a very complicated circuit. And if we are going to redraw the circuit with the help of the compound logic, then obviously it gets a lot of number of the transistors, and the circuit diagram or the schematic diagram is going to be very complex. Let's try to redraw this 2x1 multiplexer with the help of the transmission gate. Now you can see that how simplified the circuit is with the help of the transmission gate, because in the transmission gate we have the combination of the NMOS and the PMOS transistors. So this is the basic diagram of your 2x1 multiplexer with the help of the transmission gate, and you can see that how many transistors are we have. Only 4, and in the previous technique we get 20 transistors, so we reduce the transistor from 20 to 4 transistors. So what happened in this? As we know that when we will get the selection pin 0, it means that the S0, which is here, going to be 1. So what happened? It will pass through the D0 to the output side, and if we get S is 1, both S are 1s, and the S complement automatically becomes 0, then D1 will pass to the output side. So the size of the transistor is going to be reduced, and the complexity of the circuit is also going to be reduced with the help of the transmission gate. So we can say that the benefit of the transmission of using the transmission gate. Okay, next is basically the inverting marks. Okay, we can use the compound and a pair of tri-state inverter. So with the help of this we can also develop a inverting marks, in which you can get the diagram of your inverting marks like this. Inverting marks means you will get the inverting output from your output side. For this you are just using the NMOS in parallel and in series, and the PMOS as well in the series. And here is a pair of NMOS in parallel with each other, and here is a PMOS where in series and the parallel with each other. So with the help of these circuit diagrams or the schematics, we can also develop the multiplexer. Okay, let's extend our 2x1 multiplexer to the 4x1 multiplexer, in which you obviously, when we use the 4x1, it means we have the 4 data lines and 1 output, and for the 4 data lines we have the 2 selection pins, S0 and S1. So we can develop 4x1 multiplexer in the form of like this, by using the 2 levels of 2x1 muxes, and or with the help of using the 4 tri-state. So now you are supposed to develop your 4x1 multiplexer with the help of the transmission gate and with the help of the compound logic, so you can feel the difference how we can reduce the size of our transistor with the help of transmission gate or the compound logic. Now here is a lecture problem for you. After completing your 4x1 multiplexer, first you need to develop an equation of the 4x1 multiplexer, and then you are supposed to convert this or draw the circuit diagram with the help of the compound logic, or secondly with the help of the transmission gate. Then the lecture problem for you is to design a decoder. As you already know about the function of the decoder, you have studied in your digital logic design concerned with the basic information from the DLD, and then you will get the equation of the decoder that I have already written in this slide. After doing this, you are supposed to sketch the transistor level schematic diagram of the given decoder, and after that you are supposed to submit this lecture problem on your CEO online, and then I will check your approach. So if you have any question related to this topic, then you can also tell me about the query. Thank you for the today's lecture.